Hey guys, this is Tommy with Card Games on Computers and Geek Tyrant. Konami has sent me a copy of the new Dark World structure deck for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, and we're gonna just open it up and take a look. The Dark World archetype is a beloved one from the GX era, so if you remember Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, you might remember the Dark World. They mostly they're basically all about discarding, being discarded and activating effects based on if they were discarded or who made them get discarded, etc. And this mostly is reprints, but there are some new cards, like a new version of Grapha, I believe. So let's go ahead. We're gonna open up, take a look. Got a fun playmat there. I wish that when they release these structure decks with the playmats, they would also release like the cloth playmats, like what I'm opening against, like the got here the Albaz one and the Despia one, I guess. I kind of wish that like they would release this in like the fabric and rubberized versions. On the back, we've got the tips of what to do, how your monsters work, suggested cards to boost it, things like that. So let's see what they've got. They're recommending Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, Muckracker from the Underworld. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of look through. Most of you probably already know what's on it. Here's the full list. Hopefully that shows. So basically you got your Dark Worlds, some dangers are in there, a couple of extras, and then your spell cards, your trap cards, and one extra deck monster. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take a look at these guys and then see if we can talk a little bit more about what's inside. Okay, so I've pulled out some cards to talk about. We'll go ahead. We'll start with the new version of Rainbow over King of Dark World. Originally it was Rainbow Overlord of Dark World, but he's gotten a bit of a makeover. He's very shiny. He lets you return a Dark World monster you control that is level 7 or lower back to your hand, and then you special summon him from the graveyard. If he's ever discarded by a card effect, you can add a level 5 or higher Dark World from your deck to your hand, except another copy of him. If he's discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Dark World monster from your deck or graveyard to either field. I think that's interesting. Some of these cards are letting you summon to either field. I'm not entirely sure what the best strategy is there. So that's really cool. We've also got the new fusion. We've got Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World. He is a new version of Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, which you actually need him as material along with one dark monster to fusion summon him. And basically, when your opponent goes to activate an effect, as long as you have cards in your hand, you can use this as a quick effect to change the effect of the monster, spell, or trap card to be your opponent discards one card. That's really good because this is a way to make it. Most people don't normally play discard cards that make your opponent discard. And so this kind of forces that, which then turns on a lot of the secondary effects for Dark World monsters and makes them even better. You are limited. You can only use that effect once per turn. It is also, his other effect is that if it was fusion summoned and it's in the owner's control and it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Grapha Dragon Lord of Dark World that is banished or in your graveyard. Then each player with a hand discards one card. So we're discarding for that. We've also got here, I'm going to talk real quick about Genta, Gateman of Dark World. Basically, he can be special summoned once per turn. You can only special summon him once per turn. You can discard it to the graveyard to get the field spell, the Gates of Dark World. Although this isn't that great of a card, it gives Fiend monsters 300 stats, and then once per turn you can banish a Fiend from your graveyard to discard a Fiend and then draw a card. So it's okay. I don't think it's the best. Maybe I'm missing out though. If it's banished and you control a Dark World card, you can special summon it instead. So that's pretty cool. That works with some of the other cards we're going to talk about here in a second. We've got Dark World Accession, I think is how you say that, which is, it's a quick play, and during the main phase it lets you fusion summon. That's how the deck is facilitating the new Grapha. If you fusion summon a Dark World monster, it lets you, so normally you fusion summon by banishing materials mentioned on it from your field or graveyard, but if you're fusion summoning a Dark World card, dun dun dun, then you can also discard monsters as material. Notice it's not you can use cards in your hand as material, it's you discard cards as material, which will trigger the Dark World cards, which is really cool. And then also during your main phase, if Dark World Accession is in the graveyard, you can add it back to your hand and then discard a Dark World monster. So really good fusion spell for the archetype. Let's go ahead. We'll jump over here to Dark World Puppetry. You can target up to 3 cards in any graveyard to banish them and then discard a Fiend monster during the main phase, except the turn that it was sent to the graveyard. You can banish it from your graveyard to get a banished Fiend monster back to your hand. That's a hard once per turn. We'll come here to Parl, Hermit of Dark World. Parl, if he's discarded, you can target a Dark World monster except Parl and special summon it to either side of the field. Then, if it was an opponent's effect that caused you to discard Parl, you can also special summon Parl to your you can special summon one of your Fiend monsters that is banished or in your hand or graveyard. So this gives you a lot of special summon potential, up to 2 monsters, one of which has to be a Dark World, the other just has to be a Fiend, depending on if your opponent causes you to discard. Dark World Archives, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. So during your main phase, you discard a Dark World monster in order to increase the attack of all of your current Dark World monsters by the level of the discarded monster's original level times 100 until the end of the turn. That part's not the best. But then if a monster whose original type is Fiend is discarded by the effect of a Dark World card or an opponent's card effect, even during the damage step, that is huge. You can discard a card and draw 2 cards. You can only use each effect once per turn, but like that second effect is pretty good. I mean, being able to discard a card, proc a Dark World because I don't think it counts as a cost. It might count as a cost. I'd have to double check how exactly that type of wording works out. The final of the hollows is Dark World Punishment. It's a counter trap card where when a monster would be normal or special summon, you can negate the summon and destroy the monster, and then you have to discard a fiend monster, cough cough, any Dark World. And then if a Dark World monster you control would be destroyed by a battle or an opponent's card effect, you can banish this in order to and basically you banish this instead of that destruction happening. Other notable cards, there's Skill Drain. Everyone loves to hate this card. It's a floodgate. You pay 1,000 life points and no one can use their effects anymore. It's a floodgate. You either love floodgates or you hate them. Chances are you hate them. Deck Dev is a really cool card. You tribute a dark monster with 2,000 or more attack. It's a classic. Most people know this one. And then you get a look at your opponent's hand. Gets you hand knowledge. And basically you just destroy all the monsters in their hand, field, and all the cards that they draw for the next 3 turns, basically. And if it's got 1,500 or less attack, it goes straight to the discard pile. Straight to the graveyard. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm a fan of Paleozoic Dinomischus. Let me know in the comments which pronunciation you use. This is a really good Paleozoic card. I really like it in Shaddoll decks. I actually need more copies, so I might run out and grab 2 more copies of this deck for that very purpose. But it's really cool because you target a card for cost, and then you get to, as an effect, discard a card, which is why I think Dark World Archives is not a cost to discard, because it's the same type of wording. You discard a card and banish that target. So that will proc your Dark Worlds. It works the same in Shaddoll. You proc those Shaddolls when you use this. Then, you know, the lesser effect, but still kind of handy, is once per chain when a trap card is activated while this is in your graveyard, you can special summon it as a monster. So really useful. Overall, pretty awesome. I actually really like a lot of these structure decks that Konami is putting out. This one, the Rainbow Beast one, was really cool. Cyber Strike for the Cyber Dragon deck. Like these, I've actually really liked some of these retrain decks. Some have been a miss. Like the Charmers, I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but this one I actually really dig. I don't think it's competitive. It might, if you bought 3 copies, you could probably have fun at locals. And I mean, it also, are people playing Ishizu Tears? Because good luck with that. But, well, I mean, actually, maybe helps a little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit, maybe. You know, I think for locals, this could be a lot of fun to do. Just buy 3 copies. You got yourself, you know, do some workarounds. You got a bit of a deck going. So yeah, I think this is really cool. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this, the new Dark World structure deck. Do you think that it will cause a resurgence in Dark World players? Do you think that it's good enough to be in locals? Which do you think would win? 3 copies of Dark World or 3 copies of the Crystal Beast structure deck? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to know your thoughts on that one. And what do you think of these structure decks that Konami's been putting out? Until, make sure you subscribe, like, all that great stuff. Hit the bell if you want to be notified to the next time we upload a video. And until next time, I end my turn.